With Shin Megami Tensei 5 now being out, I've had a ton of fun experiencing the various systems present within the game and facing off against the various challenges in which the game brings forth. That said, the games definitely could do a lot more in terms of explaining some of the key mechanics, as any newcomer to the series could end up finding themselves a bit confused with how various systems work. There are also a few life hacks, so to speak, that I think will aid you in your adventure through this desolate post-apocalyptic Tokyo setting. In this video, we are going to be touching on 10 tips and tricks that I think anyone coming into SMT 5 should be aware of, especially if you're a newcomer to the franchise. I will be providing you guys with separate videos covering other major aspects like fusion, essences, miracles, general combat, etc. But this video is more so a list of simple yet very important things to consider whilst playing. With that said, let's dive right in. Number 1, PreRecruiting Demons. Okay, so the capture mechanic in SMT 5 works as a recruitment system by which you have to convince demons to join you by responding to their questions and potentially giving them various items or in-game currency, provided you are the same or a higher level than the demon in question and you have storage space available. The way these recruitment sessions play out can also be determined by the moon phase, which we will touch on in a second. That's all fine and dandy, but what you might not know is that you can actually convince these demons to come with you, even if you're a lower level or if your storage is full. Basically, how it'll play out is that the demon will accept your offer and then get upset you don't have space for it or call you weak for being a lower level. They'll then leave and the battle will finish. Now that sounds bad, right? Like, oh, I just paid this demon all my money and gave it all my stuff for nothing, but that's actually not the case at all. Next time you encounter a demon of the same species and select the talk option, it'll automatically recognize you and join your team, so don't be scared to try to recruit any demon you come into contact with, even if you don't have space for it, because you can always come back for it later. Number 2, the Spyglass and experience points farming. Okay, so there's an item called the Spyglass, which is extremely useful, especially early on in game, giving you all of the info you need from an enemy, most importantly what types it's weak and resistant to. They can be purchased at the shop for 100 of the in-game currency and actually become really useful when it comes to early game XP farming, as you'll notice these teardrop moon things called Mitama scattered through the world, and these things will have straight up immunities and one weakness that will swap in each individual case. They'll usually run away as soon as possible, so they don't give you a whole lot of time to guess, and the Spyglass can let you know exactly which element they're weak to right away so you can one-shot them. They are at a base level of 10, so early on this will give you a lot of experience. Number 3, demon registration. You can actually register your demons in the compendium, which allows you to summon them later exactly the way they were when you registered them. This is useful for situations where you want to utilize that demon in a fusion ritual, but also don't want to lose that demon since perhaps a result of the fusion won't have the same accessibility to certain moves. That said, registering it and then fusing it and then resummoning it is a great way to circumvent this. Just make sure you have the appropriate amount of in-game currency to resummon it. Number 4, moon phases. Now, it's really easy to go through SMT 5 without really knowing what the moon does at all if you don't really look into it. You get some information here and there, but not really any sort of concrete guide in game. So there are a lot of complexities here, and it could warrant its own video, but basically the moon can be one of 8 phases, either in an ascending or descending cycle, which technically means there are 16 total. Different demons react differently depending on the moon phase, with the full moon generally making demons unobtainable, and even the new moon sometimes does this, but also sometimes states that the demons are kind of happy, so I did notice it can be a little dodgy as opposed to previous SMT games. As you travel through the world, the moon phases will go up to full and then back down to new, and not only does this affect your negotiations, it can also cause differing effects during fusion, which can include getting the wrong demon in the case of a fusion accident, end up netting you an even higher level demon than you're actually allowed to obtain. There's still a lot up in the air about moon phases and the system as a whole, but do expect a full video when we get more information and I do more testing on the feature. The main takeaway is just pay attention to the moon phases, and some people are saying half phase, aka like 4 out of 8, is a good time to start trying to catch demons, but let me know how you guys have been doing with that in the comments below. I'm definitely curious to see more widespread results on the matter. Number 5, make sure to save often. Now, this may be a no-brainer if your console runs out of batteries or whatever. You're screwed because there's no autosaves, but it also goes a lot further than just that. The game features an honestly archaic save and reload system in that getting a game over will literally send you back to the last point in which you saved. Not as a checkpoint, I'm talking loading the game up exactly as it was when you saved previously. So if you died after not saving for 3 hours and gaining 4 or 5 levels, you've literally lost all of that progress. I've been victim to this a few times myself, and there are some overleveled monsters in some areas that can wipe you out with ease and completely screw you, so please save as much as you can. There are multiple endings as well, and 20 save slots, so feel free to save before making any major choices and creating multiple files. Number 6, difficulty. SMT V is not Pokemon or really much like any of the other mainstream monster taming games in terms of difficulty. The franchise is known for being the quote-unquote Dark Souls of JRPGs, despite the fact that Dark Souls came out later. But that said, in most games, easy mode or casual mode is generally considered an absolute joke. But in the case of SMT V, that's the mode recommended for newcomers to the franchise, and you can still get thrashed in this setting. I personally decided to go with normal mode and have still experienced challenges along the way, and I've heard those who have selected hard mode have been having a real tough time too. The point here is don't fall for the typical get good mentality, and don't be ashamed for playing on casual or normal mode if you're new to the franchise. Number 7, overworld abilities. Something really cool about SMT V is that all the moves that have healing effects work sort of like field TM moves from Pokemon. Think about like Dig, Sweet Scent, Teleport, etc. You can use these moves from the skill screen to heal and revive your demons. You can even use these skills with demons that are benched, so you might actually find it very advantageous to have a healer that you sort of just stick in the stock for healing purposes. The healer will use their own mana, but you'll save yourself a ton of in-game currency, items, and trips back if you utilize your demon skills effectively. Number 8, Demon Fusion to level up. One of the core mechanics in SMT V is of course fusion, but it can also be used as a method to gain levels for formerly lower level demons. Because each demon has a base level of sorts, oftentimes you'll find that you can make much lower level demons fuse into a much higher base level demon. For example, fusing a low level pixie with a low level angel will net you a high pixie whom is level 18. The limit to this, of course, is the player level indicated at the top screen, other than when a fusion accident occurs. Number 9, Relics. Relics can be found throughout the game, most notably in the various vending machines scattered across the world. That said, the relics can easily lead to the FOMO or fear of missing out, because while it's mentioned that they can be sold, it doesn't really state that their only use is to sell. That said, it pretty much is, so don't be afraid to sell your relics for money, because between healing, giving money to recruitable monsters, buying shop items, or using the compendium summoning, you're really going to need the money. 10, buffs and debuffs. And finally, last but not least, and extremely important, build your team around buffs and debuffs. Again, SMT is not Pokemon. Building a team with all damaging moves will lead to your demise. The buffs and debuffs in this game are extremely powerful since battles have so many monsters on the screen. Think about if you inflict a defense debuff against your foe which lasts 3 turns. That's potentially 3 turns times 4 of your demons attacking, and that doesn't even include the fact that critical hits and exploiting weaknesses gives you extra moves in combat. So trust me when I say, focus on building a team with healers and those that can aid in inflicting debuffs, statuses, or buffs to your own team. And there you have it, guys. Those were 10 tips and tricks that I think anyone should know when going into SMT V. There's honestly a lot we could have touched on, but I think certain systems, like I said, Demon Fusion, Miracles, how combat works, etc., these all deserve their own videos, so definitely subscribe to the channel to get notified when those videos pop, because it'll be very soon. Also, let me know in the comments what SMT V content you'd like to see, and I'll see if I can make it happen. Special thanks to the channel's patrons, especially StealCase and Jim Hamilton, our mythical tier backers. And with that, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.